Shohei Otani recently put together arguably the greatest performance in baseball history.
Oh my goodness! Shohei Otani! Wow!
3 home runs at the plate and a 10 strikeout, 6 inning scoreless start on the mound. All in a series-clinching Game 4 that sent the LA Dodgers to their 2nd straight World Series. Simply put, this was a legendary performance only Otani can produce. After all, he's MLB's only two-way player. But why is this the case? Years ago, there was chatter of Otani's arrival being the catalyst for a two-way player revolution, an exploration into uncharted territory once forbidden by tradition that could uncover value within a select group of players seeking to prolong their big league careers. Instead, Otani still stands alone. And the question is, why?
Otani has done it again!
3 home runs and 10 strikeouts in a series-clinching playoff game. An experience everyone in this crowd will never forget.
The DH tonight in his very first at-bat.
This is Brendan McKay, and with this pitch, he just made baseball history. How, you ask?
Ray sending Brendan McKay to the mound to square off against the Texas Rangers.
Well, 2 days prior, on June 29th, 2019, McKay made his big league debut on the mound. And what a performance it was. Tossing 5 perfect innings before allowing 2 base runners in the 6th. Then, on July 1st, McKay was the starting DH, joining Shohei Otani as the only players in the integration era with a start as a pitcher and as a non-pitcher within their first 2 career games. Entering the 2017 MLB draft, McKay's astonishing numbers at the University of Louisville divided scouts on whether his talents were best served as a hitter or pitcher. This debate legitimized McKay's aspirations of becoming a two-way MLB player, an experiment the Tampa Bay Rays were willing to conduct as they selected McKay with the number 4 overall pick. A risky proposition for sure, but if there was a team equipped with the forward-thinking mindset and adaptable infrastructure ready to take on this immense challenge, it was the Tampa Bay Rays. By 2019, between the success of Otani's MLB rookie season, the arrival of McKay, and the rise of two-way experiments around the league, a revolution of sorts was seemingly underway. However, the contrasting career trajectories of Otani and McKay illustrate the complexities and hardships embedded into the path of a two-way player.
It's best pitch of the night so far.
Little tap right side, that'll be picked up by Mancini, who steps on the bag.
In direct contrast to his pitching debut, McKay failed to get on base in his hitting debut. No one knew it at the time, but this was McKay's final ever start as a big league DH. For the rest of the 2019 season, McKay was mainly used as a starting pitcher, only hitting in games where he faced National League teams, along with a few pinch hit appearances. A direct contrast to McKay's established minor league schedule, which consisted of a start every 6 days, a rest day before and after starts, and DH appearances in the other 3 games. However, considering the results of his minor league career to this point, the Rays clearly believed his long-term future was on the mound. As for his 2019 rookie season, he pitched in 13 games, but only accumulated 11 plate appearances. To be fair, one of his 2 hits that season was a 420-foot home run, and while his ERA was a bit underwhelming, his respectable FIP that derived from above-average strikeout and walk rates indicated potential for a legitimate big league future. But that future never came to fruition due to every team's number 1 fear when dealing with prospects: injury. From oblique issues in 2018 that forced a permanent transition from first base to DH, to a trifecta of major arm and shoulder surgeries between 2020 and 2022, McKay hasn't played a professional baseball game since 2024. On the flip side, Otani has transformed into a global superstar, but even he hasn't been immune from injuries, notably undergoing 2 season-ending Tommy John surgeries within a 5-year span. There's a big workload. You're playing almost every day like a position player. Then you've also got side work as a pitcher and a couple extra lifts a week and other preparation you've got to do. It's very tough to handle your body and handle how you get tired throughout a season. Due to this uniquely grueling workload, the inherent risk of injury skyrockets, ultimately deterring teams from experimenting when the traditional alternative of specializing in one aspect of the game is safer and more likely to succeed. As one American League team official put it back in 2017, I just think you're in a situation where if you want a prospect to be great at something, he's going to have to concentrate at one or the other. If you want him to be okay at two things, he can probably do that, but you ask yourself, what do we want? If you want an impact talent, you need him to focus on that side of the game. This person lays out an interesting conundrum. Hypothetically, what would a team want out of a two-way player? Well, obviously, an Otani-type player would be ideal, so let me rephrase. What's the bare minimum outcome a team would accept to consider a two-way path worth it? When Otani and McKay came into the league, there was chatter on how to best utilize a two-way player's skills. Perhaps a DH/closer, or an outfielder/lefty relief specialist. Could your league average first baseman or DH also be your third or fourth starter? There's countless possibilities, and teams have explored some of these avenues in recent years. Players such as Michael Lorenzen, Jake Cronenworth, and Jared Walsh, among others, all attempted some form of a two-way role in either the big leagues or minor leagues. But these experiments were eventually cut short. Overall, teams exhibit a collective level of skepticism concerning two-way player development, which heavily derives from injury risk. Although, there's another roadblock to consider: the two-way player rule. Ahead of the 2020 season, MLB introduced a set of guidelines in order to formally designate someone as a two-way player. Players designated as two-way players don't count toward the limit of 13 pitchers on a 26-man roster, so this gives teams the benefit of essentially carrying a 14th pitcher. Initially, to qualify, a player needed to pitch at least 20 MLB innings and start in at least 20 MLB games as a position player or DH with at least 3 plate appearances in each game in either the current or previous MLB season. Later on, this final guideline was amended to include any of the previous 2 MLB seasons as well as the current. Nonetheless, the only player who's ever qualified for this designation since its creation is Shohei Otani. If you remember, in order to combat the rising trend of position players pitching, MLB introduced rules saying a position player can only pitch if the game is in extra innings or when the scoring difference is at least 6 or more runs. According to Jake Cronenworth, you could go 4 games where you have that, you could go 3 weeks where you never have that. So you're getting put on the roster as a hitter, but you're a two-way guy and you can only pitch in certain situations. But if you put a guy on the roster as a pitcher, now you're taking away that bullpen spot. That was really the thing that hurt all the two-way guys. So, in a sense, this rule forces teams to treat prospective two-way players like Rule 5 selections until they earn the designation. This barrier to entry discourages teams from taking a chance on those with a borderline chance of making it as a two-way player, which in turn raises the standard for which prospects teams are willing to take chances on. A standard very likely unachievable for the vast majority of players. After all, according to a National League scout, by the time a player is drafted and signed, the team is 99% sure on whether that player will hit or pitch if they did both at a previous level. Because these players' lifelong dream is to make it to the majors, they usually follow the team's advice to get there. So, between the injury risk, roster rules, and just overall skepticism, countless prospects who had the ability to at least attempt the two-way path have ultimately chosen a singular specialty. Take someone like Paul Skeens. Today, he's a pitching superstar, but just 3 years ago, in 2022, when he played for the U.S. Air Force Academy, he was the recipient of the John Olerud Award, an honor given to the college baseball season's best two-way player. Excluding 2025's winner, Evan Dempsey, all 13 recipients of this award since its creation in 2010 eventually chose to specialize on a single path: because that path was the quickest to the majors. So ultimately, unless a player is adamant on pursuing the two-way path and possesses the pre-draft hype of a Bryce Harper or Steven Strasburg, prospects will continue to forego their two-way talents to increase their chances at major league success. Even then, take someone like Hunter Green. He was the first high school player to grace the cover of Sports Illustrated since Bryce Harper. He's 17. He mashes. He throws 102. He and the Reds collectively decided it was best for him to remain a pitcher, as that was his quickest path to the big leagues. So, circling back to the question of what's the bare minimum outcome a team would accept from a two-way player, I believe they'd accept a productive, non-superstar type player, but only if another team has already taken the risk of developing them. Otherwise, they're certainly going to specialize on a singular path. I believe a comment on this article by The Athletic summarizes the situation well. There just won't be another two-way guy unless they come from a different league. MLB teams are never going to let their draft picks figure it out. They will always hedge conservative with their investments. It's unfortunate because you have to wonder if we're missing out on seeing a back-end starter who can hit for average. Not necessarily an Otani, but a guy who might be a four-war player. Considering Otani developed his multifaceted skill set in the world's second-best baseball league over a 5-year period, and still had skeptics concerning his hitting ability, it's clear there's no simple avenue to achieving two-way stardom in MLB. Aside from international players, it may take a prospect so adamant on pursuing the two-way path that they're willing to join another league, such as NPB, to not only develop against superior competition compared to the American minor leagues, but also gain the leverage necessary to convince MLB teams on their abilities. It's the blueprint Otani laid out years ago, and as of now, it's the only successful blueprint out there. Ultimately, MLB teams want to minimize risk, and this desire combined with the insurmountable bar Otani may have inadvertently set for two-way players, it's all made it difficult to envision when the next true two-way player joins MLB. But for the progression of the sport, it's something I hope materializes sooner rather than later.
One-of-a-kind player! Shohei Otani starts the 50-50 club!
あの試合をもう一度思い出してください。シリーズ第4戦、ドジャースを2年連続ワールドシリーズに送り込んだ運命の一戦。打ってはホームラン3本、投げては6回無失点、10奪三振。たった一人の人間が一つの試合の中でバリー、ボンズ、トランディ・ジョンソン同時にやってのけたような狂った夜、スタンドにいた誰もが一生忘れないと断言できるパフォーマンス。それをやってのけたのが、そう、ショウヘイ・大谷。でもこの話には続きがあります。大谷の登場でアメリカではこんな言葉が飛び交いました。これから二刀流革命が始まる。伝統が絶対ダメだと封じてきた道。投げて打って両方で一流を目指す選手たちが次々にメジャーを変えていくはずだ。そう信じられていたのです。しかし数年経った今、 MLB に本物の二刀流は何人いますか？答えは残酷なまでにシンプルです。世界でただ一人、翔平、大谷だけ。実は大谷に続こうとした男がいました。名前はブレンダン・マッケイ。大学時代、ルイビルで投げても打っても圧倒的。ドラフト前からスカウトたちは本気で悩みました。彼を投手で育てるべきか、いや、打者で使うべきか。その議論のおかげで、マッケイ自身の二刀流として生きたいという夢が本気の計画として認められました。彼を4位指名したのは、データと大胆な発想で知られるタンパベイ・レイズ。メジャーで二刀流を本気で試すなら、この球団しかない。そう言われるほどの進歩的なチームでした。2019年6月に19日、マッケイはついにメジャーデビューのマウンドへ。テキサスレンジャーズ相手に5回までパーフェクト、6回に走者を出すまで誰一人塁にすら立たせないピッチング。そして7月1日、今度は DH としてスタメン出場。これは翔平、大谷に並ぶ快挙でした。メジャー最初の2試合のうちに、一度は先発投手として、一度は DH、野手としてスタートに名を連ねた選手。統合時代以降、この条件を満たしたのは大谷とマッケイ、たった2人だけ。ここまでは完璧な二刀流革命の第2章に見えました。ところが現実は甘くなかった。 その後のMcKayはメジャーではほとんど投手としての未起用、打席に立つのはごく限られた試合だけ、マイナーでは6日に1回先発、前後は休み、他の日は DH で出場という二刀流専用スケジュールが組まれていたのに、メジャーではそれが崩れていきました。それでも投手としての数字は悪くなかった。13試合登板、被打率も三振四球のバランスも良く、 FIP も悪くない。この先普通にローテに残るだろう、そう思われていた矢先、彼を襲ったのはチームが最も恐れるあの2文字でした。怪我、腹斜筋のトラブル、ポジション変更、そして腕と肩の大きな手術が3度。2020後2022年の間にプロの試合に一度も出られない時期が続き、2024年時点でも彼はプロのフィールドに戻れていません。同じ二刀流候補として語られたMcKayと大谷、2人のキャリアはここで完全に分かれてしまったのです。もちろん大谷も怪我とは無縁ではありません。トミー・ジョン手術2回、投げながらほぼ毎日打つ、投手のサイドワーク、打者としてのウェイトトレーニングや準備、ポジションプレーヤーとして毎日出ながら、さらに投手としての仕事まで背負う。1シーズンを通して体と疲労をコントロールするのは本当に難しい、そう語る専門家もいます。だからこそ多くの球団はこう考えるようになりました。二刀流はロマンがある。でもリスクが高すぎる。一つに絞らせた方が安全だし成功率も高い。これがアメリカの現実です。さらに追い打ちをかけたのが MLB が導入した二刀流選手ルール。26人ロースターのうち投手は13人まで。でも正式な二刀流選手に認定されればその制限から外れて実質14人目の投手を持てるというメリットがあります。一見二刀流に優しいルール、しかし条件が問題でした。 MLB で20イニング以上投げる、 MLB で20試合以上野手を RDH として先発し、その全てで3打席以上立つ。これを現在か過去にシーズンのどこかで満たさなければならない。このむちゃくちゃに高いハードルを実際にクリアした選手はただ一人、ショウヘイ、大谷だけ。他の選手が二刀流を試そうとしても、投手登録にすればブルペン枠を一つ削ることになる。野手登録にすれば大量点差か延長戦でしか投げられない。ルールそのものが二刀流の目を敵んでしまっている側面すらあるのです。それでも全米には二刀流になれるかもと言われた才能がたくさんいました。ポール・スキーンズ、ハンター・グリーン。高校、大学時代は打っても投げてもスター級。でも最終的に彼らが選んだのは投手一本。理由は単純です。その方がメジャーに早く確実にたどり着けるから。ジョン・オルルット賞という大学最高の二刀流に贈られる賞があります。しかし2020年を除く受賞者13人は全員がプロ入りの地、どちらか一方に専念しました。夢より安全策、ロマンより現実。球団も選手もそれを選ばざるを得ない環境になっているのです。ある評論家はこう嘆きました。 MLB に新しい二刀流が現れるとしたら、きっと別のリーグからやってくる自前のドラフト選手で二刀流を育てるリスクを球団は取らない。そこでもう一度大谷の道を見てみましょう。彼が二刀流として育った場所はどこか。日本プロ野球 NPB、 世界で2番目にレベルの高いリーグで5年間最高峰の投手と打者たちを相手に投げる大谷、打つ大谷を同時に磨き続けた。それでもメジャーには本当に打てるのかと疑う声は残っていた。それくらい二刀流という道は構造的に不利で常識から外れたチャレンジなのです。だからこそ大谷が見せた日本経由のブループリントは今のところ世界でただ一つの成功例。日本で二刀流として完成させ、実績とレバレッジを持って MLB に乗り込む。このルートを本気で真似しようとする若者がもしかしたら将来日本からあるいは他国から現れるかもしれません。でもここまで話して一つだけはっきり言えることがあります。今この瞬間メジャーで本物の二刀流として立っているのは翔平、大谷ただ一人。 MLB のルールも球団の保守的な判断も怪我のリスクも全部ひっくり返してそれでも頂点に立っている存在。アメリカのアナリストは彼をワンオブアカインドと呼びました。そしてある記事はこう締めくくっています。翔平、大谷は新しい50クラブを始めた。50本塁だと50盗塁かもしれない。50本塁だと250奪三振かもしれない。でも数字なんてもはやどうでもいい。打者としても投手としても 誰もたどり着けない領域を同じ人間が一人で歩いている。その事実こそが新しい50から50なんです。だからドジャースブルーの17番がバッターボックスにいるとき、マウンドに上がるとき、あなたはただのスーパースターを見ているわけではありません。 MLB の常識、世界の野球の構造、全部をねじ曲げてしまった唯一無二の存在を見ている。そしてその名前は翔平、大谷。世界でたった一人の本物の二刀流。そして日本が世界に送り出した二度と現れないかもしれない奇跡。そのプレーをリアルタイムで見られている。それだけで私たちはもうとんでもなく幸運なんだと思いませんか。